you probably have one of the most unique stories that I've heard of a dentist coming into the industry. Would you mind sharing your dental origin story with our audience today?
Yeah, of course, man. And now it makes me curious to know what other stories are out there. I had in my class at least one firefighter. I had one person who his family owned an entire grocery business. And I was like, why are you doing this, man? You could go own a multi-billion-dollar grocery business. So I also knew of others who had interesting background stories. But I did not have anybody in my class that used to be a barber. So I did cut hair from an early age of 12 to 13 is when I started my first haircut. And that turned into a fun thing to do, but also a exciting craft and exciting art. I already was the type of kid that went to the barbershop often. And then I took night classes as a high school student. My normal high school day was school, then basketball practice, then night school. And then I knock out 2 or 3 haircuts before 10 o'clock and then go to bed because I had to be at school in the next morning at 7 a.m. That was as a high school student. So it became a business while also having fun with my buddies cutting hair. But yeah, I ended up doing that, man, after I got my license.
How much, just quick question. How much were you charging in high school for a haircut?
$10 a haircut. Easy. Just $10. Quick 10.
Okay.
$5.
No tips. Homies don't tip, right?
No, man, friends don't tip, man. I got used to the solid $10 bill. But I ended up moving into a barbershop after my senior year. So my first true barbershop gig, not my first job. I did do telemarketing and I worked at a grocery store. My first barbershop gig was right after high school, and I cut hair all through undergrad. That's how I paid for my 5 years of undergrad. And then I went off to dental school. So I would say if you added up the time I started in a barbershop, it would be about 5 to 6 years. If you added up how many years I cut hair in general, it was probably 9 years because I started at 14. I'm not gonna lie, looking back now, I didn't realize how awesome of a lifestyle I had as a young kid, as a college student, to have a stress-free life of cutting hair, pizza in the corner, movie on, music in the background. We had I think on Saturdays I would order 24-pack of Corona. Every client gets a beer and a slice of pizza. I mean,
where were you at when you were doing this? Where were you at when you were cutting hair? Where was this?
This is Tampa, Florida, right next to where the Bucks play, Raymond James Stadium. Which actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I ended up becoming the Bucks designated barber for a whole year. I cut hair. That's a big deal. I thought it was. I just hated the timing. It happened the year I got accepted into dental school. So I did it for like 6 months, and then I had to hang up the clippers.
So you were making more than $10 a cut at that point, right?
Yeah, man. At that point, I had a pretty decent size of cash in my pocket. I would say a good day back then. You could pay your rent on Tuesday, and then the rest of the week was all profit. And you could have a $600 day. And as a barber, that was a big deal, man. And looking back, I think you kind of weigh it out. You didn't maybe make as much as a dentist does, or an office manager, or an entrepreneur. But man, that stress-free life of just hanging out with your buddies and cutting hair, I miss it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did that? So walk us through. So you're cutting hair. You've probably, cutting professional athletes' hair is probably the pinnacle of a barber, right? Like you're at the top of your game. What happened from there? Why'd you get out of being a barber, and how'd you get into being a dentist?
Yeah, I don't have any family members that are dentists. I don't have any friends that are dentists at this point in my life. I simply had a friend who was going to medical school to be a surgeon. And he was on my basketball team in high school. So 4 years removed from high school. And he said, man, I know you got a brain up there. I'm not saying that you can't have a brain and be a barber, but I know there's more for you. You should look into being a surgeon. You can come, apply to USF medical school. Man, you have the hand skills, right? You already use a razor blade. I had just finished his beard using a straight razor blade. And he's like, there's classmates I have, dude. I wouldn't trust them with a blade near my face. They might have the brains and the book smarts, but they don't have the street smarts, the cultural awareness that you have. Dude, you're going to kill it as a surgeon. And I was like, nah, man, it sounds lame. He was like, well, maybe at least look into being a dentist. They work with their hands too. And it was, I was like, you know what? I'm going to at least look into it. Why not? I was already going to college, but I was just going to college for fun. Like I was just doing it because that's what mom would make mom proud. And that's where I could meet a girl or have some fun. And so I went to the USF was where I was going, to their library. And I got a small book, man. It was like 20 pages long, How to Be a Dentist. or something pretty straightforward like that. And it said, take your DAT, take science courses, be good with your hands, and apply to dental school. And there was a little small portion. This is the part I like to add, man. There was a small portion that talked about the history of dentistry. And it talked about how barbers used to be dentists. And it talked about how back then only 3 people had blades. A barber had a blade, a soldier had a blade, and a butcher had a blade. And if you had to trust one of those 3 people with an extraction or to use a blade on you, you probably want to go to a butcher or a surgeon, a soldier.
Yeah.
So barbers used to do amputations. They would pull teeth. They would cut off infections off of the skin. And I was like, holy cow, I already got the barber part going. And obviously that's not enough to make me want to go to dental school. There was a part of me that likes being a servant. I like taking care of others. I like working with my hands. And I like the challenge of owning your own business, your own baby that you can nourish and grow. So I applied to dental school after my undergrad and got in. And obviously history from there, man.
Yeah. So you're now you graduate college. You're ready to become a dentist. What was your first stop?
First stop was jumping in a U-Haul with my new wife. We had just got married. We jumped in a U-Haul and moved to Arizona to dental school. I sent all my clients to the other barber on the same hallway. I had to give up all my clients. And I was about to start this new life as a dental student, man. And I just, I was ready to like really hit it hard and make sure I study hard. But I also had to balance it because I was playing basketball and men's leagues. I was working out at a CrossFit gym and doing the functional fitness lifestyle. So I was getting ready to become a student, take it serious while also being healthy and a newlywed.